Brown,
Present.
Council Vice President King.
Present.
Okay, we have approval of prior minutes.
One report that it be minutes to be approved.
Okay.
Are they in here?
Going forward is approval of minutes to be approved.
This your first one?
Yeah.
Did you have a meeting before?
Mm-hmm.
You had a meeting?
Mhm.
Was I there?
No, you're right.
Okay, good.
They sent to your minutes.
You sent them by email?
Mhm.
Okay, well, if you did, I didn't read them, so I would have to abstain because I haven't read them.
We can approve.
I was there.
Okay.
So I can't approve.
Okay, well, remarks on, of the public on agenda items.
No public here?
There's nothing on the agenda, is it?
Right, and so there's
Well,
no
so
reports, the
her
mayor's
agenda.
not here.
Huh?
She talked about her agenda.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. She got two things on there, ARCO recycling discussion and Helen S. Brown.
Oh, that's, I thought it said old business.
But it's on the agenda, so do you have any comments
Yeah.
about it?
Come on with it, Holmes.
Well, there's only a couple of things that I can say.
I just want to correct it because it's not old business, apparently because you didn't discuss it in the last meeting. First meeting.
Should we put it as new business?
Yeah.
It was brought up in the last meeting.
It
was-
It's old business.
No, but, what's the name, the Helen S. Brown is not.
No, I was talking about the article.
Oh, okay.
You said
Yeah,
that.
I'm just letting you know,
Both of them are old business.
talking about on the agenda.
They both are listed under old business, but they're old.
Well, actually, what you can do to get around that is just put it on your agenda. You don't have to put old and new business, just put it on your agenda.
Okay.
Just-
That's
It
all.
is.
That's all you have to
It is.
do.
Yeah, and that was,
Yeah.
Okay,
Solve
so,
that.
Mr. Holmes?
Holmes?
Yeah, that's been very. Second, one thing I want to know is, can you all explain the contract that you all have with them and state what they supposed to do and how and when? The Helen S. Brown, I hear that the mayor can sign off on certain things. They don't have to get no inspection or nothing. I just was talking to one of the inspectors just when I came in here.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they got 2 part-time inspectors or whatever. But I thought that any time, any electrical, plumbing, heating and stuff had to be okayed by a certified person doing the work. And had to be inspected by them. And they telling me these people don't have to get no permits. Well, I ain't saying they do or don't, but they're not doing it. That's what we're talking about. What they're doing, what the people's doing. I don't know whether you all have any power over this or not, but there's some things that you all do your job properly. Y'all can make sure the rest of the people do their job properly. You know, you're dressing us out here and we not doing right or properly doing, and y'all not doing yours properly. So the head of the household supposed to do their thing properly, and the rest of the people to follow suit. Just like with your kids and stuff. If your kids see you doing everything and they doing everything, then when you get out in the public, you try to chastise them. It's not happening. See? So if y'all do your job properly and do it correctly, then I would expect for us to do the same thing. That's all.
Can't argue with that. Next time we get to a blackboard, you can map that out for us.
Well, I can take a whiteboard. It don't make no difference. Get a blackboard with a white crayon.
Okay, to discussion about the ARCO recycling situation on 1705 Noble Road. Voicemail, no ability to leave a message.
So you saying that trailer they used to have up there is going, they're no longer in that location?
Well, I guess they moved from the trailer into a house that he purchased that is
On
adjacent
Noble Road?
on Noble Road.
Okay.
Correct. And in an attempt to basically talk with him and see where he's coming along in the process, because I believe this was in June of 2015. No, I'm sorry, before that. I have the proposal here, and he has 60 months to be completed, or else the land will be reverted back to the city of East Cleveland. If it's for the purposes, yeah, that's a lot of time. The purpose was to, according to the proposal that he submitted, was to beautify a blighted area and to initiate a recycling facility, which was unanimously passed by council. So at this point, I don't see any progress as far as the recycling portion of the contract. I don't see any, nowhere has that site been beautified, or in fact it's worse than what it was when he initially bid for that land. And my concern is that without being able to physically contact or contact him over the phone, what is to stop this business or him to cease the undertaking and just pull out? And what recourse would the city have as far as the cleanup and of that dump? Now there's certain issues as far as the site itself. The EPA has issued, there were certain violations. I don't think I have it with me right now. And then there were complaints. So these are the complaints. I don't know if you have had a chance to look at these. That the Cleveland Division, well, this is all from, it spans from October of 2014. By the way, these aren't just complaints from the citizens of East Cleveland. These are also complaints from the property that extends all the way to Ivanhoe and those other businesses such as Woodland Tree Services. So when he initially started his operation, he was getting complaints to the Air Quality Division, Cleveland Division of Air Quality. So that commenced October of 2014, and the latest one that I have came from, let's see here, a resident, Kathy White, at 1734 Noble Road, who lives right in back of that property for fugitive dust. So we have all types of complaints, asbestos, fugitive dust, okay, now just an overall complaint that that they assumed that there would be building the property up, but now realize that it's turned into a dump site, which is something that the neighbors and the residents over in Noble Road have been complaining about for some time, and nothing has been done to follow up on that. And so I'd like to hear some suggestions as far as what we can do to, one, verify if to contact him somehow, be in contact with him, whether we have to write to the actual owner, because he's not the owner, and be able to find out where he is in his process, if there can be a timeline submitted as far as where he is compared to what he stated he would do, and how long it will take him to complete the project. I'm sorry.
No, I can discuss, be in the discussion. but I don't wanna stop you. But, you got to roll backwards. They was supposed to have, the package you got it's later, it's back, okay?
The what package? What do
The
you mean?
package you're reading from, that package.
This?
Yeah.
Well, it goes all the way to June of 2015.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that the EPA and the head of the organization for that spoke and said that they were still investigating him. And Noah is dealing with his wife, so I'm sure Noah has a number because the wife owns the property.
Okay.
Okay, so, and as far as that, you're gonna still have to go back, and at the beginning, there was a building that was terrible sitting on there.
The
So,
Spiro.
yeah, so what he was supposed to do was tear down that building. Hi, how are you? Was tear down that building and create a viable, visible place there, along with the recycling place. So, whether it's a dump or whatever it is, technically, it's supposed to be a recycling facility. Now, but it's turned into a hazard.
Well, the machine that's necessary in order for them to actually conduct the recycling, I'm told that they haven't had it or they're in the process of procuring it. But what I'm saying is, in between that time, what can we do to make sure that, as far as there's a rodent problem, the health,
They say, well, no road.
that's what, but see, I live one street away, so I know what's going on. There's an influx of rodents. There is fugitive dust still on the ground. The trucks often leave to and from the premises without any covering.
That's the right too.
Yes. So these are things that, now, he had 30 days from June 22nd to comply with the violations that he was cited with. And I don't know, I don't have that paper with me. But that is on record at council. So we need to follow up on that, make sure there aren't any other existing violations. But I just want to take suggestions as far as what we can do and have the foresight, not to be reactive, but to be proactive, to make sure that he doesn't just up and leave.
May I please? If I'm correct, there has not been a documented case of anybody getting, from any airborne asbestos, if I'm correct.
2 people in the hospital.
That's correct.
Has it been proved? Well, not.
That is correct, documented, officially documented, but I don't believe that up until now that this issue has been addressed, and I don't think we proactively sought out the residents over there to verify and maybe actually tell them. There's an older lady there who says her son constantly or grandson has seizures as a result. Now, whether or not we can document that A and B led to C, I think it's worth looking into, because if these problems never were before, then why are they? And that's something we just need to visit.
So can we make a recommendation that the next committee meeting that we have the representative from the ARCO come, and also maybe someone from the EPA to come as well?
Yes.
I think if we did that, that would cut down a whole lot of rhetoric. And also, I think someone from the administration should be there to articulate the contract too. Okay, so, Barbara, Brandon, Wheeler, Struthers, Holmes, Mansell, we've been dealing with this thing for months. We've had all kind of people come out, so it's time to do something. We even even the Congresswoman was contacted about this particular situation.
I contacted Marsha Fudge's office. When she contacted me back, I've yet to get any response from the office. Now, there was a Mr. Anderson, and I believe that was dealing with the actual residents. But this individual that contacted me wasn't that person, wasn't that individual. So I've yet to have any luck with Marcia Fudge, any follow-up with Marcia Fudge's office. No, haven't received any kind of correspondence. But this is something that hasn't been visited, to my knowledge, from council since it was initiated. I mean, as far as I know, brought up publicly to actually see.
Yes.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Look,
Well, the
I appreciate you
Cuyahoga
visiting.
County Board of Health has been out here. They were called, the Ohio EPA. Who was that guy, Struthers, we had at the library? He was.
That was a reverend that was.
No,
the
this
reverend.
was
He's
a
a
guy
police-
at
he's-
EPA. He was a.
He's a police
Police
officer.
officer, a
And he's-
captain in this area.
He's a
I-
police
What was
officer.
his name?
It's Sergeant Ariola or something like that.
Yeah, he came out. He came to the council
I
meeting.
had the head of the EPA.
Hey, so I mean-
So the actual violations that, I'm sorry, Brandon, the violations that he was cited for, I guess I would need some help in finding, because in general contracts and, well, I guess it would be possibly in another, because it's in this committee now. So that would be in contracts and property, but what follow-up was, what remedy for the violations on June 22nd, which he had 30 days?
Nothing that I know of. And my question to everybody, to maybe able to shed light, has he been cited or penalized for anything?
Yeah.
Been a lot of
He's been cited.
I would
at
like
the
to jump
state.
in, I would like to jump in here and just try to
just like a
maybe
lot.
go back a little bit and
Okay.
hopefully this will
Okay.
shed some light on it. Now, when the proposals were submitted to the city, right, I believe there were 3 or more proposals for that site. Now, if you remember the site beforehand,
Mhm.
it was a potential gold mine for scrap metal.
Yep.
So there were a number of people who wanted it. This proposal came in and it said that they would eradicate the blight.
Right.
Basically take the building down, right? Because they considered that blight. Refurbish and make the area look better. It's kind of a misnomer when you say we're going to do a C&D recycling facility. But it's right there. And if you know what a C&D recycling facility looks like, that looks like a C&D recycling facility.
So it's all in the.
It's in there, right? Now, EPA has been out there, the county's been out there.
Right.
Joshua, I've talked to, not in a couple months, but I talked to him back to back to back when he was having the height of all these complaints. Now, when he took the building down, maybe some smoke got up in the air, maybe it didn't. We don't know. But he had some smoke complaints then about dust when he was taking the building down. Now the building's gone, right? The asbestos, I don't even like talking about that, right? We ask, bring the person that's got asbestos in front of us. We ain't seen him yet,
The thing.
right? But listen, understand this. There's seniors all over the city, right? So they may say, oh, I'm sick because of this, I'm sick because of that. They seniors. We haven't seen one with asbestos. Now, last year,
But
a group of us went over there to meet with him. Ron Riley? No, what's his name?
I called the meeting.
His name is George.
Mike Riley.
Mike Riley.
Mike Riley. No,
His name is
this wasn't
George.
your meeting. This was a different meeting. We went over there.
Oh, okay.
And
George Michael
we
Wright.
went over there to view the facility, right? He pulls out much of the paperwork you pulled out, right? Past inspection, cited, citation cleared, right? So it's a facility. They show up on any given day. They may find something out of order. They may not. What he was cited for was not having proper water. Because when they move that stuff around, they got to water it down to keep the dust from coming up. Now, the day we went over there, we looked on the cars in the backyards of the houses. You know, I didn't see any dust on those cars. I didn't see any dust on the windows, right? And because he passed all the EPA inspections, right? And if they cite him over and over and over, it's going to be in the newspaper. So if they cite him, give him 30 days, he corrects it, no big deal. They come back out another 3 months, they cite him for the same thing, he corrects it 30 days, no big deal. So when you hear a lot of this, and then you have people over there picketing. Come on, this guy employed, was it 21 people from the city? 19 people
Oh, he
from the
doesn't.
city, give them jobs, right?
That's
But
why
they're
I
over
realize
there basically harassing this guy.
Well, let me state one thing. In the wintertime, when it's colder, usually you don't see the effects of that site. In the summertime, there is a haze over that site. I live there, so I can attest this is firsthand knowledge as a resident. So, and there's an awful smell at times. It's a weird kind of smell that's coming from it. So, there is asbestos there. It's just not at the levels that the EPA deems hazardous. So it is there. So whatever impact it has, the government or the EPA said that it's not at a level in which we can do anything to it, because the things that he's doing is you know, as far as what his business is concerned, there's certain levels that he's able to operate at.
For the most part, you're not smelling asbestos.
Well, whatever it is that we're smelling,
People just like keep saying that
No.
they scare people.
no,
They
but
say-
I'm saying that there is asbestos. That is something that when you
Who said it was asbestos?
I don't have the report with me, and I wish I had brought it. It was the actual
But listen, when
EPA
we say
citation
when
that.
we say that, right?
Mhm.
Look at the effect that it has. But it's not. The EPA said no.
Well, depending on when you visited. Now, I don't know if you visited before or after June 22nd, 2015. But as of June 22nd, 2015, he had 4 or 5 violations, including one with record keeping, something about how, which is kind of minor, the fugitive dust, and like you said, not spraying down, what have you.
And that's how the dust got, because he wasn't wetting it down
He wasn't.
properly. So they cited him.
However, his trucks, another thing that is concerned is that the trucks travel down a residential street. And I've had a couple of neighbors or residents that had to repave their sidewalks because of the destruction that the truck causes.
To their sidewalk.
Well, you know, to the sidewalk. And once it becomes a nuisance and it's almost like a problem with the residents, I think we just need to take a look at it and just to verify and go back and make sure that he's still up to par. But what scares me is the fact in trying to contact him.
From my understanding, he's moving and he actually bought that house. He
Right.
rehabbed that house.
Yes.
He's actually moving from that house, I want to say under the bridge, into an office is where he's supposed to be
Yes,
moving,
property.
is what I was told. This guy, right, and this company has been a good neighbor and a great business friend. He's created
Yes.
jobs. He's actually taking care of some of the complaints of the people on that street. What I'd like for you to do, and I'll go out there with you, once we get in contact with him, set up a meeting. We can go out there, we can walk through the facility, we can see exactly what he's doing, we can talk to him. He'll show you the EPA papers. He actually has one that speaks to rodents. It's a C&D recycling facility. There's no garbage, there's no food.
Well, you know, I do
So-
know that, well, the rodents are gonna come, they're gonna go find food.
Thank you. But there's really
So-
no food there, right? There's just
exactly.
wood
Just
and
debris
building materials. So the rodents you see are rodents in the neighborhood,
that
period.
weren't there prior.
That-
We've never had an influx. I'm just telling you that we've never had an influx of rodents like we've seen. I'm letting you know.
You know what happens when
Now-
they tear down any structure in the city?
Exactly, you're gonna have rodents. Exactly. I understand that. Now, I do wanna say, my train of thought, when you said about how he's helped the residents, I do realize that there are a couple of residents on Noble Road that are employed by him now.
Not just
So that
employed,
also.
but he's done other things. He's given different organizations. I know Nate was talking to him about making a donation to the Democratic Ward Club. He gave up a bench. You know what he did? When they pulled out all the dumping on Page, right? He picked it up.
And did he transfer it to that site?
He transferred to that site, or he transferred it to where it needed to go. But he picked it. He is a good
Took it to Noble.
neighbor.
Well,
So what we need
what
to do.
we need to do is we need to make sure that we balance out the complaints of the residents as well as what he's doing. So, I
And
mean,
not
I don't want-
add to the bad mouthing
No, no,
of
no.
what's going on over there.
No,
So
that's-
when you say stuff like asbestos and rodents, that just scares people, and it's really unfounded because the EPA said no, there's
the
no
levels
toxic
of asbestos weren't to the point,
to get somebody sick. So somebody say, oh,
or to close them
I
down.
know
That's
somebody
our
was in the hospital for asbestos. Bring them in here. Let's see him. Let's talk to him. Bring the medical report. Let's see him. Let's talk to him.
Now, what I'm doing is I'm voicing the complaints of the people. If this is what they're saying, this is what we need to take a look at. So, irregardless of, if they can, I wish someone could prove that fact that that's the case.
I talked to the gentleman last night at your war club meeting. It was a really good meeting. Thanks for inviting me. And I assured him, right? The EPA, Joshua, he said, man, if they run into some problems over there where they get cited and they don't correct it, he's going to notify us. They are on watch because of all those past complaints, right? I contacted Joshua today to try to get some of his latest.
Joshua.
Joshua's a guy from the Ohio EPA who handles ARCO, right? And I talked to him numerous times, and they are on the watch for them to pull out of that place.
Yep.
Can I
And,
say
and
one
honestly, there's nothing we can do if they do, but they are on watch and look out for that. So
Pardon me.
we're kind of protected here. Well, as best as we can be. The Barbara Thomas wants to.
I don't understand, and maybe I'm missing something here, but it seems to me, if there is something that is undesirable in an area, and the people are saying they don't want it there, when I went over there the first time, I had to call you, I had to call the mayor, and I had to call several other people, and you came too, and the mayor wasn't coming, but Mr. Morrow and the heavyset guy all came and sat in the back, the guy's backyard. At that point in time, your eyes were burning, your tongue was burning, and everything else. He was on the hot seat. Now, it's not about,
Wait a minute, excuse me.
wait a
You said
minute.
eyes and tongue were burning?
yes, mine was,
From what?
when I was sitting in the backyard.
From what?
From the area there that I was sitting in from.
Did anyone else complain about
Yes, they
So-
all were saying,
that? That
and
their
they-
eyes were burning and
Yes.
their throats were.
yes,
My eyes were.
yes, yes,
Mine worked too.
yes.
I wasn't.
And the guy that got a job there,
I wasn't.
what's his name, the heavyset guy?
Mr. Drummond.
Mr. Drummond, he was hooping and hollering and cursing and carrying on. Well, would you want this in your backyard? Our kids is here. And then one lady from down the street, the elderly lady, she came down. They all was sitting there. Everybody was complaining. Well, as it turns out, Mr. Drummond said he helped them get something fixed that they couldn't get fixed. Some kind of, he was doing the mechanical work. I don't know what you should do or what you shouldn't do, but I know that I'm not going to take the side of someone that has a mountain of trash that's causing a problem and is undesirable to the individual that is strictly right behind their backyard is behind there. Now, if you're fighting for your residents, I'm not fighting for this man because he bought that property for $125,000.
Yep.
But he was supposed to have given that $125,000 up front, which he didn't, because he said it was in a trust.
Well,
And it's just the same thing. So all those people that were sitting in that meeting, and it was about 15 of them, including Mr. Morrow, and Mr. Morrow said his wife was getting sick. Anything that's airborne, or if you have an allergy and the airborne is coming into, it will affect you more than it would affect anybody else.
Well, see, this is my goal. My goal is to actually get to the bottom of it. Like you said, you know, the contract has already been put in place.
That's true.
Prior council put it in place. It's there. We need to just make sure that he dots his I's, crosses his T's. Also, you said he's a good neighbor. It's supposed to clear up blight. So we need to know what is his timeline in clearing up the blight that, and that's what, you know, I know he has the 60 months or what have you. But also, to kind of have it kind of balanced. We want to make sure that the blight is cleared up. We want to make sure that as of now, because I don't think to date anyone's gone out there to see if he's resolved any of the issues that I have on.
So from a business perspective, understand this, and a legal perspective, he has X amount of days from the day he brings in a receipt for materials. Let's say he has, is it a year, 2 years? Do you remember?
No.
Let's say it's 2 years. The receipt that he brings in a material, he has 2 years to get it off his facility. Now, from a business perspective, you're not going to bring in laborers to clear out this much stuff, right? You're going to let that stuff stack up so that when you bring in laborers, you can work them all day, right? So technically, per the law, he has about 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, to let this stuff stack
That's
up.
what we need to look into, because
Right.
when you talk about laborers,
So-
that was another source of a complaint, or not a complaint, the actual violation was that his workers did not have protective masks, and that there were certain, not just the fugitive dust, they did specifically say asbestos, because there is a level of asbestos. And so when you're in direct contact with it, so that even the workers weren't wearing the proper whatever they needed to do. But that was in June. I'm just revisiting because I'm privy to this as of right now.
It's June 14,
Well, June 22nd is when it was actually, the letter was sent.
2014.
No, June 22nd, 2015 is the latest batch that I have of
And
violations
we talked about
that
it.
he was, and it's talked specifically, and we should, it's in the council office,
So
I didn't
listen.
have it with me. So my concern is that when I hear that being thrown around, regardless of the level, I think we just need to find
It's
out.
incumbent upon
What-
you to
what
do
We
else?
need to find out
it. Right.
and revisit it to make sure that he is complying not only with what he was cited with in June 22nd, 2015, because that's when that report came back out, but that there are no other additional violations, and then see what maybe he can do, because he is such a good neighbor, to try and, somewhat work with the citizens. And maybe, I know he's probably sat with a small group of citizens, but we need to see what is he going to do with that property. And he has a certain amount of time. What is your action plan? Where are you at in your action plan? How long is it going to take you? I mean, you wouldn't want that in your backyard. A lot of people wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want it in his backyard.
When you talk about the action plan, he's already taken the building down. And I think that was the time period that he had to take the building down.
Well, he has
So
been,
he now owns the property. I would like for us to do a couple things. One is visit with him. Two, stay in contact with the EPA. And as we visit with him, we can talk to him again about a wall. Maybe he can put up like a tarp.
well, this is the thing. There is a time requirement for redevelopment. So it wasn't just about tearing down. He was supposed to develop that property as well.
Wasn't supposed to be torn down.
There is a time requirement for redevelopment, and this is according to what they gave us, their proposal. Ohio Rock's plan will take no less than 36 months, and at the end of 60 months, the plan has not been fully completed, then the land will revert back to the city.
All that stuff.
So there's no redevelopment? What was the, when did the redevelopment?
They redeveloped what they're gonna redevelop.
So the redevelopment is basically a stockpile of trash.
That's right.
I'm trying to understand that, because
And quite honestly, you've heard this before.
isn't it?
Another man's trash One man's trash is another man's treasure. To me.
So where is it being recycled? How
I'm
is
not
it being
sure.
recycled?
I'm not sure, but he's still in business.
He should go.
Well, okay, well, we
He's
have to
done
get to the
comedy.
bottom of it, because I think it's unsightly when you're traveling down Noble Road.
It is, yes it
And when
is.
you're driving down Euclid. I mean, what does that say about our city and about, you know, the appearance of our city?
We need to ask him for a target. Something.
Can I
Well,
interject
at
something?
one point,
Can I interject a little bit?
at one point, when the thing was hot, they talked about putting up a wall, a whole bunch of things that he said he was going to, a fence. That never took place.
Nor the hoop
Okay.
thing.
When Barbara alluded, when we were out there in the backyard and people were complaining, Mr. Moore was at your meeting yesterday. He didn't say much to me about it. I got into an argument about it because he was really heated up one day about it.
That might be who I talked to.
Oh, Mr. Morrow.
Did he have on like a patch quilt?
Yeah.
And now it's in place, then I guess we have to go by what's there, but at the same time, I want to put things in place just so that we're not stuck with that trash.
This
After
came
60
about-
months, if he doesn't finish what he's supposed to do, then what?
I'm pretty sure he's done with that 60 months with what he was going to
So
do.
you saying to get
Well,
rid of
actually, it's from 2013 that it was put in, so.
I'm pretty sure that when he put that in there, it was enough time to take the building down and then set up business. And he has taken the building down and he has set up business. So I don't know what else he's gonna build. And I don't remember seeing anything in there about him building.
Yeah, it does say that there's no specific plans for new construction on the site. Okay, so it's kind of amazing to me that it kind of, without, let's see here.
That's why my interjection was, the best thing to do is get him
Get
here
in here.
and get EPA here. and
Come here.
Question Q&A to get clarity.
Thank you,
That's how.
Council President.
This will be the third time.
Can I say a few words?
This will be the third time.
Okay, well, Mr. Mays said.
Well, I was here before he was.
Okay,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Holmes,
speak
go
first.
ahead.
Old guy.
The only thing I'm
guys.
gonna tell you all is this. Mr. King, giving y'all a complete thing with a plan up front. And I've told everybody that would listen that within that 60 months, that man ain't gonna use that property. Then he gonna walk away with it.
Yep.
And the city gonna be stuck with that stuff. That was the plan up front. That's why I wanted to see what the contract was. And I was told by another contractor that do the same thing, that this guy was dumping that stuff over there. They are on the bid. These other contractors were tearing houses down, $4,000 or $5,000, because they could bring it right there and taking it to the proper place they supposed to. That was the plan up front, and he said, just like he said, and I don't know why the rest of us on council didn't know this too, that was the plan up front. And after 60 months, you walk away and the city gonna be stuck with it. Thank you.
Can I come back on that?
Wait a minute.
Can I make a comment to that?
Yeah.
So, well, it's up to you. It's however you want to do your meeting. Mr. Holmes got good memory, because I remember him saying a lot of those things. And
But that's a fact.
true, in some places,
Shit.
people will go in, they'll buy a building like that, because make no mistake about it, there was a ton of scrap metal in there, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it was smart, I believe, on the city's part to try to get something out of it, because if you remember that time, they were going on roofs, taking off AC units, and they took mine off. They hit a church twice right, in the same
And,
summer
yeah,
for the
dollar
AC
store
unit.
too.
They was going up and down the city taking, for scrap metal, because scrap metal was so high. So the city, I think, did a smart move in doing that. Now, I read it and I understand what they were going to do. Now, in other places, they would take the building down and then they would run.